Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be looking back at the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? It launched back in 2021.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
People were super excited about it.
They were.
That 10x optical zoom, the 120 hertz display. We're going to unpack all of that.
Sounds good.
We're going to be using an article from RechargeMyTopup.com.
Okay.
It's called 5G Ready and Powerful. An in-depth look at the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra's features and performance.
All right.
Published in January 2023, so it has the benefit of hindsight, too.
Makes sense.
All right, so let's get started with that display that everybody was talking about.
Okay.
The article highlights the 6.8-inch Quad HD plus AMOLED 2X display. What does all that mean?
So basically, Samsung put as many pixels as they could
Okay.
into a 6.8-inch screen.
Okay.
We're talking a resolution of 3200 by 1440.
Wow.
Really sharp images, text.
Okay.
And that AMOLED 2X part,
Yeah.
that refers to the technology behind the display. So
Okay.
each pixel emits its own light, so you get those vibrant colors
Okay.
and like really deep blacks
Oh, nice.
that AMOLED is known for.
Yeah, those are some of the best displays.
Yeah.
Watching movies on this thing must have been amazing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The article also mentions the 120 hertz refresh rate.
Right.
I remember that was a big deal.
It was.
My phone has a 60 hertz display, and it seems fine.
Yeah.
Is it really that noticeable?
It's kind of hard to describe. You have to experience it.
Okay.
So 120 hertz means the screen updates 120 times per second
Okay.
compared to your phone, which is only 60 times.
Wow. Okay.
So this results in really smooth scrolling animations. Everything just feels more responsive.
Like more fluid.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like, when you watch a regular movie and
Yeah.
then you see it like in high frame rate for the first time,
Exactly.
everything's just a bit crisper and more realistic.
Exactly. And to top it off, the S21 Ultra supports HDR10 Plus, which is a standard for high dynamic range. So basically what that means is if you're watching videos on Netflix or something,
Yeah.
they'll have like a wider range of colors, contrast,
Wow.
making them look even more true to life.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
They also mentioned Corning Gorilla Glass Victus for protection.
Right.
I'm always worried about dropping my phone and cracking the screen.
Yeah.
Was that the toughest glass available back then?
Yeah, at the time, Gorilla Glass Victus was top of the line.
Okay.
It offered significantly better scratch and drop resistance.
Yeah, okay. Good to know.
You probably still want a case just in case.
Oh, yeah.
But it sounds like they made this phone pretty durable.
Yeah.
They were really trying to make it like a premium phone.
Okay, now let's get under the hood.
Yeah.
The S21 Ultra had two different processors, right?
Yeah, that's right.
An Exynos and a Snapdragon.
Yeah.
What was the deal with that?
Yeah. So the article mentions
Right.
that it came with either the Exynos 2100 or the Qualcomm Snapdragon 888.
Okay.
It depended on the region you were in, but both of them were considered flagship processors.
Yeah.
So they were meant for, demanding tasks,
Yeah.
gaming, video editing.
Oh.
There were some differences in the benchmarks, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So people in some parts of the world might have gotten a more powerful phone.
Yeah, possibly.
Would you actually notice a difference in daily use, though?
Well, the Snapdragon variant
Oh.
it usually did better in the benchmark tests,
Right.
especially in graphics performance and power efficiency.
Okay.
But I think in everyday use,
Yeah.
both of them would have been very smooth and responsive,
Okay.
unless you're really pushing the phone to its limits
Yeah.
with heavy gaming or video editing.
Right.
I don't think you would notice much of a difference.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The article also mentions up to 16 GB of RAM.
Yeah.
What's the significance of that up to?
So the base model probably had less RAM,
Okay.
maybe like 12 GB.
Uh-huh.
But having the option for 16 was a big deal, especially for power users.
Right.
So RAM is kind of like your phone's short-term memory.
Right.
It holds the data for the apps that are currently running
Okay.
or, recently used.
Yeah.
So if you have more RAM,
Yeah.
you can have more apps open at the same time without the phone slowing down.
Okay, so like having multiple tabs open on your computer.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
So with 16 gigs, you could be editing a video, listening to Spotify, chatting on WhatsApp,
Yeah.
all at the same time, and it would just work.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. And there was another important spec
Okay.
that the article mentioned,
Yeah.
US 3.1 storage.
What is that?
So that's the type of flash storage that's used in the phone.
Okay.
Basically, it just means apps load super fast.
Nice.
Phone responds quickly to your commands.
So it's not just about how fast the processor is, but
Yeah.
also how quickly the phone can access the data it needs.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes
It's
sense.
one of those like behind the scenes things.
Yeah.
That makes the experience really seamless.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I know we got to take a break soon, but I really want to hear about those cameras.
Yeah.
Everyone was raving about them.
All right, let's dive into that right after the break.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, so those cameras,
Mm-hmm.
the S21 Ultra, had a quad camera setup,
Yeah.
which sounds pretty intense.
What
was the thinking behind having so many cameras?
It was all about versatility.
Okay.
Smartphone cameras were becoming more and more important.
Yeah.
And Samsung wanted to make sure that users could get a wide range of shots without compromising on quality.
Right.
So each camera had a very specific purpose.
Okay, break it down for us. What did each camera do?
Okay, so the main camera had 108 megapixels.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So you could capture really detailed photos, even if you wanted to crop in later.
Okay.
And then there was a 12 MP ultra-wide camera
Right.
for those big landscape shots
Yeah.
or, group shots where you need to fit everyone in.
Makes sense.
Yep.
And then the other two were telephoto lenses.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And this is where things get really interesting.
Right.
One of them offered 3x optical zoom,
Okay.
which is great for getting closer to the action.
Right.
Like if you're at a concert or a sporting event. But the star of the show
Yeah.
was the other telephoto camera
Okay.
with 10x optical zoom.
Wow.
Imagine capturing wildlife.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
On a phone, 10x optical zoom?
Yeah.
That must have been like a game changer.
It was for mobile photography for sure.
Did they have to sacrifice anything to get that zoom?
That's a good question.
Like, did the image quality suffer at all?
There were some concerns about that at those high zoom levels.
Right.
But Samsung was using computational photography to try to minimize any loss of detail.
Right.
So basically, the phone's software would combine multiple images to create a sharper, more detailed final picture.
So it wasn't just about the hardware. It was also the software working behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember hearing about people using this phone to take pictures of the moon.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It really pushed the boundaries of what you could do with a smartphone camera.
Speaking of pushing boundaries,
Yeah.
the article mentions a 40 MP front-facing camera.
Right?
That seems like overkill for selfies?
It does.
That's there more to it?
Yeah, I think they were thinking beyond still photos.
Right.
Video calling was becoming more popular, social media, so having a really high-quality front-facing camera was important.
Yeah.
And this one could record 4K video at 60 frames per second.
Wow, that's really good.
Which was pretty impressive at the time.
Okay, so future-proofing the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, moving on from cameras.
Okay.
What other features stood out to you?
One that caught my eye was the in-display fingerprint sensor.
Okay.
That was becoming more common, but still relatively new.
Yeah.
So you could unlock the phone just by putting your finger on the screen.
I remember those early in-display fingerprint sensors.
Yeah.
They weren't always great.
Yeah, they were a little finicky sometimes.
Did they get it right with the S21 Ultra?
From what I've read, it was a big improvement.
Oh, yeah.
It was faster and more reliable.
So they addressed a lot of those early issues.
And they did, yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
What about battery life?
So this phone had a 5,000 milliamp battery,
Okay.
which was pretty big, even for a phone with all these features.
Yeah.
The article mentions support for fast charging
Yeah.
and wireless charging as well.
I remember wireless charging
Yeah,
being kind of like a novelty back then.
it was.
It's everywhere now.
It's everywhere, yeah, it's standard.
What about the software?
So it shipped with Android 11
Okay.
and Samsung's One UI 3.1 skin on top.
Can you explain what a skin is?
Sure.
For people that might not be familiar.
Yeah, so basically it's a customized user interface that sits on top of the base Android operating system.
Okay.
So Samsung's One UI is known for being user-friendly,
Okay.
having extra features, customization options.
Like what?
So things like system-wide dark mode,
Okay.
an improved notification shade, a more intuitive settings menu.
Okay, so it was basically just enhancing the core Android experience with Samsung's own design language.
Yeah, and features.
Right. Okay, what about durability?
Okay, so we talked about the Gorilla Glass Victus,
Yeah.
but it also had an IP68 rating.
What does that mean?
So that means it's protected against dust,
Okay.
and it can be submerged in water
Oh, wow.
up to 1.5 meters
Okay.
for 30 minutes.
So you could take it to the beach or use it in the rain.
Yeah, a little rain or splash shouldn't be a problem.
That's good
Yeah,
for clumsy people like me.
for sure.
The article also mentions 5G connectivity.
Yeah.
This is still pretty new in 2021, wasn't it?
It was.
Was it a big selling point for the S21 Ultra?
5G was definitely a hot topic.
Yeah.
But it really depended where you lived.
Right.
Whether you had access to it.
Right.
But if you did,
Yeah.
it was a big selling point.
Okay.
Because it promised faster download and upload speeds.
Yeah.
Which opened up a lot of possibilities
Right.
for things like streaming and gaming.
Okay, but what about people who didn't have access to 5G yet?
Well, the S21 Ultra also supported the latest Wi-Fi
Okay.
and Bluetooth standards. Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.0,
Okay.
which were big improvements over the previous generations.
So even without 5G, you could still have a good experience.
You could, yeah.
Okay, so Samsung wasn't just betting on 5G.
Right.
They were making sure it was good for the present as well.
They were.
Okay. Was there anything else that stood out to you as innovative?
One feature that I thought was really cool was Samsung DeX.
Okay.
So it allowed you to connect your phone
Yeah.
to an external monitor, keyboard, and mouse,
Wow.
basically turning it into a desktop computer.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it had been around for a few years,
Right.
but the S21 Ultra really refined it.
So it's almost like having two devices in one. You could use it as your phone
Yeah.
and then connect it to a monitor when you needed to do work.
Exactly.
Were there any limitations with DeX?
Well, most apps worked great,
Okay.
but there were some that weren't really optimized
Right.
for the bigger screen,
Yeah.
so you might have had some weird layouts or scaling issues.
Makes sense.
But for things like editing documents
Yeah.
or browsing the web,
Uh-huh.
even light gaming, it worked really well.
It sounds like they were really trying to blur the lines between a phone and a computer.
Yeah, they were.
Pretty forward thinking.
Yeah.
What are your overall thoughts on the S21 Ultra?
I think it was a really impressive phone
Yeah.
for its time,
Yeah.
packed with features.
Yeah.
It was a flagship.
Right.
It was for people who wanted the best of the best.
Okay.
And it really delivered.
It sounds like it, but technology moves so fast.
It has.
How do you think the S21 Ultra's features hold up today?
That's a good question.
And what do you think we're going to see in the future?
Let's talk about that.
We've spent this whole deep dive looking at the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra.
Yeah.
It had a ton of features.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like Samsung was trying to push the limits of what a smartphone could be.
Right.
But technology moves so fast.
Yeah, it never stops.
How do you think the S21 Ultra holds up today?
Well, it's a tough question.
Yeah.
It was a really good phone.
Right.
And a lot of its features are still impressive.
Like what?
That display is still great.
Yeah.
The cameras are still really good.
Uh-huh.
And that DeX functionality is still pretty unique.
Yeah, you don't see that on a lot of phones.
Yeah.
But I get the sense there's a but coming.
Well, technology has moved on.
Right.
There are newer phones now
Yeah.
with better performance,
Okay.
better battery life,
Uh-huh.
and even better cameras.
So it's not at the top of the line anymore.
Not really. Yeah.
What about software?
That's a good point.
How long will they keep updating a phone that's a few years old?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Samsung's gotten better at updates, but there's a limit.
Right.
It launched with Android 11,
Uh-huh.
so it's probably gotten a few updates since then,
Yeah.
but eventually it will stop getting updates.
So that's something people should consider when buying a new phone.
It is, yeah.
It's not just about the features you get right away,
Right.
but also how long it will be supported.
Exactly.
How long we'll get security updates.
Because those are important
Yeah.
to protect your data
Right.
and keep everything running smoothly.
Okay. So even though the S21 Ultra is still good,
Yeah.
you have to think about what newer phones offer
Right.
and how long it will be supported.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's all about finding that balance.
Yeah. Finding the right phone for you.
What are you most excited about for the future of smartphones?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in foldable phones. They're still pretty new.
Yeah.
But I think they could change everything.
How so?
Well, imagine a phone that can turn into a tablet.
So it'd be like two devices in one.
Yeah, basically.
What about durability?
That's a concern.
Yeah, those folding parts seem delicate.
Yeah, the hinge and the screen
Right.
could be more prone to damage.
Okay.
The companies are working on that.
Yeah, they're getting better.
And I think we'll see a lot of new apps
Yeah.
made specifically for foldable phones.
It's going to be interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Any other predictions?
I think AI is going to be huge.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're already seeing it.
Yeah, and cameras and battery stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I think it's going to get even bigger.
Like what? What do you imagine?
Maybe features that can predict what you need
Okay.
or personalize your experience.
So like a phone that knows you really well?
Yeah, something like that.
That sounds a little scary.
It could be.
Yeah.
But it could also be really convenient. It's about finding that balance.
Right, between convenience and privacy.
Exactly.
Well, it sounds like the future of smartphones is going to be exciting.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing how fast things change.
It really is.
Well, this has been a great deep dive
Yeah.
into the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra.
It's a cool phone.
We've talked about its features, how it compares to today's phones, and even what we might see in the future.
It was a good discussion.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We encourage you to check out the original article on RechargeMyTopup.com
Yeah.
for more details on the S21 Ultra.
It's a good read.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep diving deep into the world of technology.
See you next time.